You've gotten this far in your leadership life. Now it's time to level up. You can learn the tools to reimagine, reinvent, and to even love your leadership life. Are you ready? Let's go. Well, hello. Good to be here with you. I hope that you had a lovely weekend. I spent part of my weekend studying. I was learning about how we often react instead of respond to stimuli. And then I kept paying attention to what I do when I'm faced with certain circumstances. I was noticing whether I was reacting or responding, and I found it very interesting. And I have been working on being more intentional so that I can respond with more thoughtfulness. So I thought I'd share the difference between the responding and reacting here and give you some ideas on how you can respond with more thoughtfulness if that's something that you want to do. Okay, so let's define the two. Reacting. Reacting is fast. It is immediate and driven more by emotions than deliberate thought. It tends to be impulsive. Responding, on the other hand, takes longer. A response involves pausing and processing and consideration. Rather than being impulsive, responding is a more thoughtful approach that takes the perspectives and emotions of others into account. Responding is slower and more rational. When you are in survival mode and feel like you are under threat, reactions are usually automatic. They are like fight or flight or freeze or fawn. You react in a way that helps you to feel safe. When you are in an intentional mode, you respond rather than react. You are able to temper the emotions and take a little more time to respond more thoughtfully. So let's look at some examples. Think about a time when you were having a conflict with someone at work. Maybe this person poked some holes in a presentation you just made in front of your peers. Under survival mode, the emotions step up. Maybe you feel defensive. The automatic thought might be, well, maybe if you would have provided me the information I asked you for on time, I could have incorporated it, or something like that. Or maybe if you would have attended the preparation meetings and given your feedback ahead of time, I could have addressed it in the presentation. You know what I mean? So the reaction is emotional, and the result is that you create even more tension between you and that someone at work. The result is more conflict. In the same scenario, responding is more considerate and focused on solutions. Responding means being able to take a deep breath or two, to pause before speaking. You might say something like, I understand you have some concerns. Let's set up a meeting to talk about them. With a response, you have less escalation and hopefully less conflict and more collaboration instead. Another scenario might be that you get some feedback from your boss that is pretty tough and you feel upset. From survival mode, you might create a lot of self-doubt for yourself. You might think about quitting. Again, the reaction is emotional. The result is that you don't benefit from the feedback. You stay the same. How you might respond instead: if you take some time to digest the feedback, you schedule a follow-up to see how you can improve. The result is that your performance gets better and your boss sees that you are coachable and that you care about your work and so on. You get the idea. So intention is what plays a huge role in reacting versus responding. It influences the level of awareness and purpose behind what you do. In reacting, which is where we usually are if we are leading from survival mode, in reacting, that intention is subconscious. Reactions are driven by emotions or conditioning. We react like we always have. The intention is not conscious. It's more of a knee-jerk reaction. Reactions happen when we feel uncomfortable or like we are under threat. Getting defensive at that coworker is likely about self-protection. In responding, intention is much more deliberate. It involves a clear intention that comes from the prefrontal cortex, where the thinking and the problem solving happens in the brain. Here, the prefrontal cortex can consider those perspectives of others. It can come up with options. So instead of getting defensive, conflict can be resolved constructively. All right, so if you want to be more responsive than reactive, here are a few things you can try out. You can take a deep breath. As simple as that sounds, breath work is a great way to pause. It is a great way to access that prefrontal cortex. It gives you just that little bit of time it takes to temper the emotions and to get to the prefrontal cortex, where you can do some clearer thinking. You can also clarify your intentions. You can ask yourself, what is the goal here? What am I hoping to achieve with my response? You can revisit your vision and your values. If you are reacting, you are likely not moving toward your vision, or are you leading from your values? But if you have a clear vision and values from which to lead, rather than reacting, you can align your responses to that vision. You can align your responses to your values. Finally, well, not finally, because there's a lot more you can do. I can go on and on, but for today, the last strategy I'll share is that you can practice some mindfulness and develop your self-awareness. That's where someone like me comes in. A good coach will help you to see your triggers, to manage your emotions. Working on your self-awareness will make a huge difference in helping you to respond intentionally more regularly. It will help you to respond instead of react. For more information on how to work with me, go to drjuliabarrow.com and the Work With Me page. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. You will find me under Dr. Julia Barrow, DrJuliaBarrow. I hope to see you there. In the meantime, have a beautiful week. We'll see you next time. If you're ready to dive into this work, check out my Living Your Leadership Life membership. It's where you will find the coaching, tools, and community to help you leave survival in the dust and create the leadership life you desire. Go to drjuliabarrow.com and the Work With Me page for more information. And if you know someone else who can benefit from listening to this podcast, send them our link. Our world can use some healing, and it starts with our leaders. Join us.